very good, very happy Monday morning to everyone out there. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Landon here in the driver's seat with you to bring you your latest weather or not forecast courtesy of On Target. Folks, I'm going to preface this by saying we're going to be discussing the opportunity of a major winter storm arriving here late in the work week on into the start of the weekend. Forecast will be changing and altering. We're going to get into the major ingredients here and what is exactly going to be unfolding. Things are going to change here until we get roughly into the midweek time frame whenever we get better sampling and we can really nail this thing down. But with what we're seeing early on, it is worth mentioning and diving into, to say the least. Let's get started with what's going on out there. Early this morning, we've got frigid cold air that is right here on our doorstep. It's already arrived, but we even got colder temperatures that's on the way right here out of the north and west. So right here early this morning, we have got this cold front. It's right here on our doorstep. It's going to be blasting south and east here across the region as we work throughout this morning. For those of you curious, we're located roughly right here in the Wobbles community. And we are going to have this moisture-deprived cold front surge through. This is going to bring a reinvigorating shot of that deep Arctic air here across the region. It is going to be absolutely frigid cold today despite sunshine. Going to have very strong winds to deal with as well. We're going to be looking at wind chills in the single digits up into the teens pretty much throughout the absolute entirety of today. Let's get a look across the region. D93 Skycam showing those crystal clear skies overlooking Cherry Hall there. We've got the courthouse in downtown as well. Nothing to worry about early this morning, just the frigid cold temperatures that we're dealing with. Barren River Lake Skycam, Proclaim Broadcasting, got a beautiful view overlooking Barren River Lake. Look at that speckled star-studded sky that we're able to soak in out there early this morning. It is frigid cold, folks. We have got readings that are all the way down to the teens. Over in Logan County, we're up between the low and mid 20s across the rest of the region. Combine that with the wind chills, with the winds coming in here out of the north and west here pretty soon. We're down to the teens for the most part, with a few of us all the way down into the single digits as well. All right, let's jump in here to the latest short-term model guidance. Let's give you the full breakdown of what we're going to be experiencing. First, in the near term, with all of this cold that's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon, it would appear. As we have the front that's going to pass, folks, we are looking at these winds out of the north and west really cranking up here throughout today. Cold front's right here on our doorstep and moving through here over the next hour or so. Look at these winds out of the north and west. 25 to 30 plus miles an hour at times here as it passes through. That's just going to be adding insult to injury to our real-time feel on the readings out there. And speaking of that real-time feel, take a look at these wind chills. All the way down early this morning, as we were just mentioning, down in the teens for a good chunk of us. By the time we work into this afternoon, we're really not going to be budging too much, all right? We're going to be looking at real-time temperatures maintaining and holding right around the low and mid-20s pretty much throughout the entirety of today, but the wind chills are not going to loosen their grip. We work into the overnight, wind chills all the way down, closing in on sub-zero readings, going to be right there along the western Kentucky Parkway. Those across northern Edmonton and Butler County might get in on the sub-zero readings there. And by Tuesday afternoon, wind chills only going to be able to rebound to right around the low to mid-20s. Long story short, folks, we said this in our typed up forecast there yesterday. Insulation is just kind of more of a lifestyle at this point, all right? Let's take a look over here at the latest in terms of what our precipitation is going to be doing. Even though the cold front's passing this morning, we are moisture deprived. Nothing's coming into the fold today, nothing throughout our Tuesday, but our first little weather maker that we're going to need to monitor is going to arrive here on Wednesday. Going to have the cold air in place initially, but southerly winds are going to try to bump highs right around the low to mid 40s as we work into our Wednesday. And as that occurs, we're going to have this robust little wintry mix that looks to transverse through here at some point between mid-morning on Wednesday and continuing on to the early and mid-afternoon hours. Don't think that's going to have much of anything to shake a stick at, folks, if I'm being completely honest. There's going to be some scattered light rain showers, might have some snow mixing in. The moisture should be out of here before temperatures drop back below freezing Wednesday night on into Thursday morning. Okay, let's get into it. As we work later into the work week, our focus is going to turn to the south and west of the region. We're going to have this developing upper level low across the desert southwest that's going to encourage moisture to be streaming north and east across the lower Mississippi and Tennessee valleys, all while an Arctic high works in here out of the north and west. If you are located where we're at, this is an encouraging signal if you are a snow lover for exactly what you want to see as it rolls through here, right? So keep your eyes here as we work throughout the course of the latter part of the work week. Here we are getting into Thursday night. Here we are finding ourselves into Friday morning. And then we work into our Friday afternoon on into our Friday evening. And you can see the moisture that is becoming readily available here out of the south and west, okay? All of this moisture streaming up in this direction and our Arctic high is in place. This gives you the recipe for the opportunity of a significant winter storm right here across our region. We got the moisture stream that's evident out of the Gulf and out of the south and west with that developing upper low. We have the Arctic air mass with the Arctic high placed to our north that is going to be trying to suppress that moisture further south. You get the shallow cloud layer of air, you get the warm air lifting the moisture up and over that sub-freezing layer of air. Bam, we have the opportunity of some rather robust snowflake growth and potential, and this is why we're keeping our eyes on this, all right? And we've been talking about it being around a week out, 7, 8, 9 days out last week, so we're going to continue to monitor. But here we are rolling into this week, folks, and if this rolls in here Friday afternoon into Friday night to kick things off and get started, you can do the math. We're about 4.5 days out from this thing. We're going to have much better sampling come available around the Wednesday to Thursday time frame. That's going to give us a much better idea of what's exactly going to be unfold with this as it reaches us, okay? But needless to say, this is the setup that you want to see, and it'll be the most encouraging sign thus far of getting any sort of significant snowfall on the ground, all right? So, take a look. As this thing evolves, the latest model guidance, we are looking at the Euro here in particular. The moisture comes alive here, Arctic air crashing out of the north. This begins Friday evening, continues through Saturday morning, continues into our Saturday afternoon, continues into our Saturday evening, with lingering snow showers continuing and hanging on until roughly sunrise on Sunday, okay? I want to make note of that. So this could be a prolonged period if we get the winter weather that comes to fruition coming along with this. So that's worth taking note of. Not just that, folks, the cold isn't going anywhere. Take a look here to our north and west. We're going to be stuck in this northwest flow that's going to be sticking around and keeping us at sub-freezing readings for quite some time, even as we roll into the course of the new work week of next week with another few blips of some snow potentially moving in here. So again, if you're wanting to get meaningful snow on the ground, this is the most encouraging sign that we have had so far throughout this winter season. Now let's get into the ingredients and a couple of the question marks that we have in regards to the evolution of this. We're looking at the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. We're 18 to 20,000 feet up above our head. This is Wednesday morning, all right? Here we are rolling into our Thursday, and then we roll into our Friday, and if you'll notice something, look across the southwest U.S. This billowing, churning upper level low is what's going to encourage that development of that surface low here. That counterclockwise flow is going to encourage the moisture to stream to our north and east, all right? And then watch as we work into Friday, and then we get on into our Saturday whenever the peak timing for this is. The Arctic high streaming in out of here, shallow Arctic air, moisture driving out of the south and west. We are right here in the bullseye point right now currently from southern Kentucky down through the heart of Tennessee as well to get on some meaningful snowfall. I do expect this to alter and change, folks, as we work throughout the course of the week, but the signal is there. So there we are looking at the mid and upper levels. Now look at our precipitable water, the amount of moisture that'll become available as we work into the latter part of the work week. Here comes this little tongue of moisture as we work into our Wednesday with that wintry mix event. And then watch the deep surge here out of our south and west here rolling into Friday night, all the way into our Saturday and then into Sunday, all right? But it is worth noting, this is where a question mark resides. Right, looking right here at the precipitable water that is showcasing our moisture readings, that Arctic high is really trying to suppress that moisture down to our south. If this was to come fruition and this Arctic high really strengthens up, that could try and suppress the bulk of the moisture down to our south, and that would leave us with more of a light snow event over the course of any meaningful, significant snowfall on the ground. So this is why we're going to be monitoring and watching this. If the high isn't as strong, it'll lift a little bit further north and it'll take that bullseye of the heaviest snow right now across Tennessee and across the northern tier of the deep south states, and then that would shift that northward over us. So any meandering of 25 to 50, 100 miles with this low pressure setup, with this split stream flow with the northern tier and then the southern tier coming into phase together, there's going to be question marks. But as previously mentioned, one of the things we usually struggle with, folks, is not just getting the cold in here, but getting it to stay around. Take a look at the latest climate outlook over the next 6 to 10 days. That's also encouraging signs here with what we're seeing with below average temperature readings that are on par and sticking around here with us. That's why we're going to continue to monitor this one very, very slowly, all right? Nothing is set in stone regarding any sort of snowfall amounts, any amount of certainty. Again, we mentioned this yesterday. As someone who's highly invested in bread and milk futures, okay? But it is worth having some fun. So we're going to take a look here at ensemble guidance. This is the 24-hour probability of at least 4 inches of snowfall on the ground. And as we work into the weekend, take a look at that. We get maximized at right around a 20 to 30% probability of receiving at least 4 inches of snow. Again, still being 4 to 5 days out. This isn't etched in stone. This isn't a given. But it's worth monitoring and looking at, as many of the signals are pointing towards the opportunity of a significant snowfall across the region. I'm a personal snow lover. I'm going to be rooting for this one and for guidance to hold. It's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. That is for sure, all right? So first and foremost, I want to jump over here and talk about the short term. We are concerned about the frigid cold weather. We're going to have readings and wind chills that are going to be trapped down between the single digits and teens throughout today. Throughout our Tuesday as well, we might hit wind chills in the afternoon right around the 20-degree mark. Then rolling into our Wednesday, despite real-time temperatures rising right around 40 to 45 degrees, our wind chills are going to stay very, very frigid. That is a promise, all right? Working into the later week time frame, this is experimental severe weather, winter weather impacts, and it's given us a 20 to 30% probability of seeing moderate impacts with this winter storm potential late in the week. So nonetheless, we're going to continue to watch this thing like a hawk. That's a promise. Your full 6-day weather forecast breakdown: frigid cold throughout this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Afternoon highs in the mid and upper 20s. Wind chills in the single digits and teens throughout. Potential for some single digits or even sub-zero wind chills overnight into early Tuesday. Mid-30s Tuesday afternoon, mid-40s on Wednesday with that scattered rain and snow mix. Then we're back down to around the mid and upper 30s on Thursday with some sunshine to soak in. Mid-40s on Friday, and then, folks, the bottom's going to drop out again. Mid and upper 20s Friday night. Saturday, it says mid-30s. That won't be the case if we're getting in on some moderate snowfall out of this. We will be staying below freezing, and we'll be thrown right back into the meat locker there Saturday night and to finish out the weekend as well. Friends, it's going to wrap up your Monday morning weather and night forecast presented by On Target. You all take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Stay weather aware with the frigid cold out there and with the potential for a winter storm here on the horizon.